What is enlightenment? A journey of self-discovery and transformation. Once upon a time, there was a man named Jack who lived a life of great ambition. He had a high-paying job, a big house, and all the material possessions he could ask for. However, Jack always felt that something was missing. He had a nagging feeling that there was more to life than just accumulating wealth and success. One day, Jack met an old sage who seemed to radiate an aura of peace and contentment. Jack was intrigued by the old man and asked him about the secret to his happiness. The sage smiled and said, "I have achieved enlightenment." Jack was puzzled by the term, enlightenment, and asked the sage to explain it. The sage said, "Enlightenment is a state of being that involves a profound understanding of the true nature of reality. It is a state of inner peace, clarity, and joy that transcends the limitations of our everyday experience." Jack was fascinated by the idea of enlightenment and asked the sage how he could achieve it. The sage replied, "Enlightenment is not something that can be achieved through external means. It is a state of being that arises from within. To achieve enlightenment, you must cultivate a deep sense of self-awareness and learn to see through the illusions of your mind." The sage then taught Jack various practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and self-reflection to help him cultivate self-awareness. Over time, Jack began to develop a greater sense of inner peace and clarity. He realized that the material possessions he had been chasing all his life were not the key to happiness and fulfillment. As Jack continued to practice, he began to experience moments of profound insight and understanding. He began to see through the illusions of his mind and to understand the interconnected nature of all things. With each passing day, Jack felt himself growing closer to achieving enlightenment. One day, as Jack was sitting in meditation, he experienced a moment of profound clarity. He realized that his sense of self was an illusion and that he was a part of the interconnected web of existence. With this realization, Jack achieved enlightenment and felt a deep sense of peace and joy that he had never experienced before. From that day on, Jack devoted his life to helping others achieve enlightenment. He shared the teachings of the sage and helped others cultivate self-awareness and understanding. Jack found that helping others achieve enlightenment was even more fulfilling than achieving it himself. Enlightenment is a state of being that involves a profound understanding of the true nature of reality. It is a state of inner peace, clarity, and joy that arises from within. To achieve enlightenment, one must cultivate self-awareness and learn to see through the illusions of the mind. With patience, discipline, and dedication, anyone can achieve enlightenment and experience the profound rewards that come with it. As Jack continued on his path of helping others achieve enlightenment, he encountered many people who were skeptical or resistant to the idea. Some thought that enlightenment was a lofty goal that was unattainable for ordinary people, while others thought that it was simply a form of escapism or denial. Jack knew that these attitudes were born out of fear and ignorance, and he was determined to help people see the truth for themselves. He continued to teach and share the practices that had helped him achieve enlightenment. And over time, more and more people began to experience the benefits of these practices. One day, a young woman named Sarah came to see Jack. She was struggling with feelings of anxiety and despair and was looking for a way to find peace and happiness. Jack listened to her story and offered her some simple mindfulness practices to help her cultivate awareness and inner peace. Over time, Sarah began to feel a greater sense of peace and clarity. She realized that many of her anxieties were born out of her own fears and insecurities, and that by learning to observe her thoughts and emotions with greater clarity, she could find a deeper sense of peace and contentment. As Sarah continued to practice, she began to experience moments of profound insight and understanding. She saw through the illusions of her mind and began to understand the interconnected nature of all things. With each passing day, Sarah felt herself growing closer to achieving enlightenment. One day, as Sarah was sitting in meditation, she experienced a moment of profound clarity. She realized that her sense of self was an illusion and that she was a part of the interconnected web of existence. With this realization, Sarah achieved enlightenment and felt a deep sense of peace and joy that she had never experienced before. From that day on, Sarah devoted her life to helping others achieve enlightenment. She shared the practices that had helped her and encouraged others to cultivate awareness and understanding in their own lives. Sarah found that helping others achieve enlightenment was the most fulfilling thing she had ever done. And she knew that she was making a positive impact in the world. Enlightenment is not just a personal goal or achievement, but a way of living that can have a profound impact on the world around us. By cultivating awareness, understanding, and compassion, we can overcome the illusions of our minds and connect with the world in a more profound and meaningful way. Through the practice of mindfulness, meditation, and self-reflection, we can achieve enlightenment and experience the deep sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment that comes with it. As Sarah continued to help others on their path to enlightenment, she encountered many challenges and obstacles. Some people were resistant to her teachings, while others were skeptical of her claims. Sarah knew that the path to enlightenment was not an easy one, but she was determined to help others find their way. One day, Sarah met a man named David who was struggling with feelings of anger and frustration. He had been through a difficult time in his life and was struggling to find a way out of his pain. Sarah listened to David's story and offered him some simple mindfulness practices to help him find inner peace. Over time, David began to feel a greater sense of calm and clarity. He realized that many of his frustrations were born out of his own fears and insecurities, and that by learning to observe his thoughts and emotions with greater clarity, he could find a deeper sense of peace and contentment. As David continued to practice, he began to experience moments of profound insight and understanding. He saw through the illusions of his mind and began to understand the interconnected nature of all things. With each passing day, David felt himself growing closer to achieving enlightenment. One day, David came to see Sarah and told her that he had achieved enlightenment. He felt a deep sense of peace and joy that he had never experienced before, and he knew that his life would never be the same. Sarah was overjoyed to hear of David's achievement and knew that he had truly found his way on the path to enlightenment. She continued to help others on their journey, knowing that the path to enlightenment was not always an easy one, but that it was always worth the effort. In conclusion, the path to enlightenment is a lifelong journey that requires patience, dedication, and discipline. Through the practice of mindfulness, meditation, and self-reflection, we can overcome the illusions of our minds and connect with the world in a more profound and meaningful way. With each passing day, we can grow closer to achieving enlightenment and experience the deep sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment that comes with it. And as we help others on their own journey, we can make the world a more peaceful and compassionate place for all.